All right, coaches, we're going to jump into this. I know that we've had a little bit of downtime with the challenge. We are going to kick it back up, especially, we've got a lot of you who are going for elite that we want to make sure we help you get there. And let's just, anything we can do to support you. So that's what we're trying to do with these calls as we, kind of get back into this, getting through Summit. So many amazing announcements. You've obviously got a speaker today that I think is going to be, obviously, she's outstanding. Bonnie's one of the best coaches I know. I was glad, Bonnie, you and I got a chance to talk in the airport in New Orleans before we flew home. So it was good to see you at Summit. But let's go ahead and jump in with Bonnie. Bonnie, if you guys don't know, is a two-time top 10 coach. Well on her way to being a three-time top 10 coach. I'm having an outstanding year again this year. But Bonnie, let's go ahead and kick this thing off. I guess we're going to try and do this interview style, but the theory is we want to go into, kind of get to leadership development and how you're developing leaders. But Bonnie, why don't you tell a little bit about your story to start, about how you found Beachbody, and why don't we start there?
Oh my gosh, my story. I'm not prepared for this. They said I was going to be interviewed. No, I am super excited to be here. Brittany told me a little bit about this group that you guys are kind of, not quite at 5-star yet, but kind of on the journey this year to be a 2017 elite leader. So you guys are kind of in that really fun but really frustrating sweet spot where everyone likes to hang out between diamond and 5-star, which for me in my business was a particularly frustrating time. So I'm happy to get to talk to you guys about leadership development, which is, where we're kind of pointing all of our efforts this year with the new elite program. And I think that is a welcomed change that really, tells if you're a leader or not. And I'm really excited to talk about that. But as far as, gosh, I just did a video probably like 10 minutes ago in a sneak peek group about this. And sometimes I forget that all of you guys are not on all of those videos as well. But for me, it's so interesting. Doug was saying that we saw him in the airport, Andrew and I, my husband, on the way home, and we were literally eating before we got on our flight, talking about how insanely different our lives are. Like probably 3 times a day we look at each other and we're like, wait, did we get to do this for our job? Like, how is this even a thing? And all this week we kind of spent recovering because I maybe slept for 4 hours the entire week of Summit. But then I thought to myself, like, how insanely cool is it that I didn't sleep, but I didn't sleep because I got to work out on stage with Autumn in front of 15,000 people. But my life looked so different before Beachbody, and I think that's easy to forget when we look at top coaches, or when we see someone who's successful or has, some of the things that we want, and I'm totally guilty of this too. I often forget where they came from. So for my husband and I mean, when we first found Beachbody, we were probably in the worst place of our lives. I was $200,000 in defaulted student debt. So I don't know if you guys have student debt or what student debt is like, but it's the kind of debt that you can't file bankruptcy with. You cannot negotiate, like they will come and garnish your wages. So my husband and I were in this position where both of us had to be working 1 million hours a day. We had to be away from each other. We had just gotten married, and it seemed like we got married to spend less time together. He had just been stationed in California, 3,000 miles away from anyone we ever knew. And I didn't have any contacts over there. We were living on this really remote military base. And I had this chance to kind of reinvent my life because I was so frustrated and just this weight of debt and not being able to do what I wanted to do. Traditionally, I had been like a career hopper. Like, tell me a career and I probably had it. Tell me a job and I probably worked it. I was a bartender, an actress, a waitress, a medical marketing professional in New York City, a personal trainer, a terrible one at that, a gymnastics coach. And when we first got to California, I was paying $3,000 a month in just student loan bills. So that's excluding bills to live, housing, utilities, eating, regular living expenses. And on a single family military income, I'm sure you can imagine how stressful that was. So I had this bright idea that I was going to be a celebrity personal trainer in California, and this was going to make me the big bucks. So I went to work at a gym, quickly found out that that's never the case, and I ended up working probably 15 or 16 hours a day. So I would wake up at like 3 o'clock in the morning and go train people before they went into work, and then I would go to a different gym and coach gymnastics all day long to little kids, like mommy and me classes. And then I would go to another gym afterwards and personal train people until like 11 o'clock at night. So I was running on probably 4 or 5 hours of sleep at home. And then the whole thing would just start over again. And I got to this point with Andrew where we looked at each other and we're like, this can't be life. There's no possibility of ever getting out of our debt. There's a ceiling on both of our heads of how much we can make, how much we can do. I wasn't helping anybody personal training. I felt resentful of the people because they weren't respectful of my time. And it just was this constant struggle. So I actually stumbled upon Beachbody, and this is illegal. You cannot do this. You can't do this with your Beachbody business. But I stumbled upon Beachbody on Craigslist. I saw a Craigslist listing for work out at home with P90X and get paid. And I'm like, yeah, okay, what a scam. Like, these people getting taken by this scam on Craigslist are really dumb. And I just kept hearing it. It kept coming into my life. I was hearing, people talking about it in the mall or people on the internet. I Googled it a couple times and I found a couple top coaches and I started following them. And, it seems silly looking back because I had known of P90X. I knew of Insanity. I knew they were legit. My husband and I did P90X on like our third date. And I've started following my coach on Facebook. And, I always tell this story to coaches because I think it's really interesting to think of your business like this. She was so good at showing me the lifestyle that she was able to create with the company. Not necessarily, she didn't talk about the exact programs or the names or the word Beachbody, but she was really good at showcasing, I was in a really bad situation and then this platform took me to here. And my coach is Lindsay Matway, and I signed up 3 years ago, and here we are now.
Awesome. So, I love it. I'd love you to start there just because I want people to understand the perspective you bring to the business. So let's jump in. And so guys, this isn't a social media call. This isn't a how to attract. It's not branding. It's none of that. We're going to dive right in. And let's start at the beginning, Bonnie, as if I'm a new coach on your team, and talk about how leadership development, how do you, I'm saying all the right things, I'm committing, I'm telling you I'm going to do it. What do you do with me?
Yeah, interesting question, because I've definitely switched things up a little bit. In the beginning, I used to overthink leadership with new coaches so much. Like, there has to be a training group, there has to be a welcome email, there has to be all these documents. And I would obsess over, where's the missing link? But at the end of the day, I always go back to, okay, what made me successful? Because when I came into the business, it was a lot more simple. There weren't so many training groups and so much information everywhere. I feel like we're almost oversaturated with information now as new coaches, and it overwhelms them, and then it stunts their growth because they're looking in the wrong direction. So now when new coaches come in, the only thing that I talk about with them is Success Club. Why? Because I know for a fact that if someone's telling you, just like Doug said, we're just going with the example that a coach wants to work the business. They're saying, I want to make this successful. I want to be a full-time coach. I know for a fact that me as a coach bringing someone in, if they're hitting Success Club, they're making money, right? They're profiting off of challenge packs sold. They're helping 3 people that month at minimum. So they're getting that rush for helping people. They're getting the income. So they're making the money back that they invested in their challenge pack, right? And then I also know that I have a chance to recognize them, which is really key. I keep things so simple in the beginning. Concentrate on Success Club and then recognizing the SHIT out of them, because we live in this society now where we don't get recognized, right? You're just supposed to do your job and that's that. Especially in 9-to-5s, you don't get, a fancy thing made about your name, or you don't get to be on a leaderboard. So I feel like that's a huge part of it. So now when new coaches come in, I put them in a new coach training, but the entire first 7 days is all about how to hit Success Club, what Success Club is, how to post on your social media, your first post of, kind of that curiosity marketing that Shalene was talking about. I'm a coach and I get to be in this fitness group with my coach. And then what I do is I actually answer all of the fears for them. So I give them what to say, right? I tell them what Success Club is. Then I give them messages to explain a challenge group to people. Then I create a chat thread with them all. So I like to talk one-on-one with them and keep it simple about Success Club. And then I give them a challenge group to put their people in. So I take all of the pressure off of hitting Success Club, right? So I give them virtually every single answer to their questions. What I found was when I wasn't running a challenge group for my new coaches, they were getting really scared of the fact that they had to know what to say to these people. The majority of my coaches that I attract, they've tried a Beachbody program before, they've been in one of the challenge groups before, they kind of know how to navigate it themselves, but they get nervous on what to say. So I find that if you keep it super simple like that and take all that guesswork out, then they run further than someone who doesn't have that.
Awesome. So let's go back a little bit. How do you explain Success Club? Like, what do you say Success Club is?
Basically, I used to go into the whole spiel that's in the back office, like Success Club is a point system that we operate on. But honestly, I think that people want to become a Beachbody coach because they don't want to feel like they're in corporate America. So on our one-on-one calls, I will say, hey, I ask them a simple question. Do you know of maybe 3 or so people in your life that would benefit from a healthy change? And that's how I start the conversation of Success Club. And I say, your first step is to make a list. Could be friends and family, could be people on your social media, maybe just a friend who you think it would be fun to work out with. And, I always tell them the story of my first challenger was my mom, and I got to teach her how to use Facebook. And it was a really fun thing for us to do together, just to kind of get their wheels turning about, it's actually me just, reaching out to 3 people. And then I'll go into, Success Club is a simple point system, and you get 2 points for every 1 person that we help this month. And your goal is to help 3 people. So just keeping it super simple.
Okay, cool. So let me go back again on this. Yeah, the example I used is dealing with people that want it. Why don't you talk quickly about people who don't know about it or don't really know what coaching is, and so they don't know if they want it, and then people who maybe you signed as a coach who don't want it. Like, how do you deal with all these new coaches coming in and the different personalities and the different kind of ambitions they have towards the business?
Yeah, that's probably this answer will be ever changing because we constantly figure out how to deal with people in different ways. For me personally, I never discount anyone. So even if someone's like, I don't want to do the business, please don't add me into anything, I'll still add them to the team page because there's still supportive stuff in there and they can get a feel for the community. And it's really funny, 9 times out of 10, people who originally come to me and say, please, I don't want to do the business, I just want the discount, or I just want, the community feel, they come around a couple months later and say, you know what, I think I'd like to try what you're doing. I think I'd like to give it a try. So I put every single coach that signs up with me into my team page. But then, honestly, in a leadership position, you have to learn to protect your energy, right? Protect your stamina, protect your emotions, because this can be a very emotional business. And you have to remember that every single coach you sign up, whether they run or not, regardless of what they say, has nothing to do with your leadership. Of course, you can always get better. But this was one of the things that was a game changer for me when I realized, okay, I have to offer the same support and the same thing to every single person signing up, regardless of what they say. And then whether they take that and run with it and become successful or not has everything to do with where they are in their life. So you kind of have to remember that. But as far as what I do with the different levels of people, every single coach that joins my team has to join a challenge group. They have to go through that experience first, regardless if they say they want to be a business builder or not. I firmly believe that you cannot be a good coach if you don't go through that process. And then additionally, I give them all the same tools, and I just don't chase the ones down who say, you know what, I'm going to take it slower.
Okay. Okay. I like it. I like the idea of protect your energy too, where it's like, understanding who you're giving your energy to and really kind of being strategic with that.
Yeah,
So,
and in my, just one more thing, in my welcome email that I send, in the first paragraph, I give them a choice. Like, what, do you want to run full speed? Do you want to walk? Do you want to just stroll in this business? Because I'll match whatever you give me. For a long time, in that position, like I talked about in the beginning of this call, between Diamond and 5-star, I wasted so much energy trying to pull all of these coaches along with me. And I concentrated on people who didn't want it. And I missed a lot of people who I could have been giving more attention to, who would have ran with me. So you have to match people's energy. Even if they say, I want to be successful, I want to run, I'm going to achieve all these things, and then their actions don't match that, you can't be wasting all that energy pulling people. It's the hardest lesson to learn in this business, I think.
okay, cool. So first month, you make me your coach. I join. I hit Success Club. What do you do with me? You recognize me. Like, what's now you're taking me down this path. Where am I going? How are you getting me there?
Yeah, so this is the funniest part, because I think, we attract some really ambitious people like me in the beginning, and I hit Success Club. I think it was like 21. I'm like, what do I learn now? Do I go to a leadership class? And there's this weird part between like your first month of Success Club and then maybe getting to Emerald would be the next step. So typically what I do is we have a one-on-one call. We talk about you're going to hit Success Club, which is your first goal. After they hit Success Club, we have another one-on-one call. And let me just have this little caveat. It's up to them to schedule the call. So I will message every new coach who hits Success Club and say, let's get back on the phone with each other and talk about next steps. But it's up to them to schedule the call. I won't chase them down. I won't, hound them and keep messaging them. And on that second call, this is typically to diffuse any kind of, thing that they may be thinking that they have to learn something else. So I simply redirect them and say, what got you here will get you to the next step. And we talk a little bit about Emerald in a really simple way. Typically how I explain Emerald is, Emerald is your first business step to building your team. And as you're filling your challenge groups and hitting Success Club in your second month, why don't you identify some challengers who you think might be good at this too? So I kind of talk about it in that way instead of, hey, let's sign up your spouse and your best friend. I really try and get them thinking business minded, but in a very simple way as to not overwhelm them. And then I concentrate on really hitting Success Club in those first 3 months. So doing exactly what you did the first month with the first couple people. Let's do that 2 more times and then we'll chat again.
Awesome. So you've got me to hit Success Club. You're getting me now, headed towards Emerald and helping others. You brought up this point of, I don't chase them. They have to kind of schedule with me. And just to be kind of clear on this, is that a Bonnie Engle today thing, or is that when you were a new coach, was that the same, or was it much more? Because I'm just thinking of, these guys, they don't recruit like you do, and they have less, so they probably apply more pressure to the fewer coaches, if you understand kind of where I'm going with this.
Oh yeah, 100%. And to answer your question, this was totally a learned thing. I mean, in the beginning, I was like, hey, where are you? Do you want to chat? Are you free right now? Are you at work? Like, let's talk about Success Club. And I think I really turned some people off with that kind of intense mentality. And I know it's so hard, maybe you have a team of 12, maybe you have a team of 24. It's really hard when you only have a certain amount of people to kind of play that nonchalant, you have to earn my time. It's definitely something that I've learned. And I think you can apply it in a not so intense way, and so maybe set a precedence from now moving forward. And this is one of those things how you teach people how to treat you, right? Because if you continue constantly pulling their attention and trying to pull them towards you, even though it's hard because you only have a few people, moving forward, your job will get harder, right? The more people you attract when you're an elite team at the end of this year and you have quite a bigger team with some leaders that are developing, you have to protect that. So what I would do is maybe say, for one-on-one calls moving forward, you have to at least have one Success Club point. that's how I started this. You have to earn your time with me. Of course, every new coach gets a one-on-one call. But that's how I kind of started the you have to qualify, you run, I run type thing. I started really small with that. And then, of course, I made some exceptions along the way because I really wanted to help people build. But then as my team grew and my time got smaller, then I upped that ante of having to earn time with me. But it was not something that I always did. I was definitely in a different place 2 years ago.
Okay. So talk a little bit about, I'm your new coach. I just did Success Club. You've done the call with me about Emerald. But I want to make sure there's a point here where, how do you balance between you've got me as your new coach, but you're also recruiting in other new coaches. And, when do me as your new coach converge with your other new coaches and know that there's other people and that you're hitting Success Club, like teaching the principle of you're leading by example, not just teaching me how to do it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes so much sense. So I personally believe that the most valuable thing you can do as a leader is just do what you're asking them to do. I don't think that spending time on the phone with them and constantly messaging them is helping them at all. So what I started doing was I started including myself on every single leaderboard so that my coaches could start to learn that I'm not just telling you on the phone to hit Success Club. This is what has gotten me to where I am. So I include myself on every leaderboard. I include myself on every rank board. So every single Thursday, I make a board of all the current ranks. And I post my current rank on every board, whether I drop rank, whether I'm 15-star, so that my coaches can see I'm here too, I'm in the trenches too. Because ultimately people will do what you do and not what you say. Like, it would be very awkward if you were on these calls with these new coaches talking about Success Club and you were never on the board at Success Club. So I make it a point to put more weight on leading from the front. But your question of, where do they converge with other coaches and how do they start to become their own leader, right? And doing it on their own. This is a tricky part of the business. And I think this is where everybody gets stuck. We have a coach who can hit Success Club, maybe they're at Emerald or Ruby, and there's this weird kind of switching point that they have to have for themselves, right, between Emerald and Diamond, and to start really getting it. So one of the things that's been working really, really well on our team is when new coaches sign up in a new coach training, I'll actually put them in a chat thread together. And this does the work for me. I don't match people up, but within this chat thread, I'll talk about Success Club. If it's the end of the month of their first month, we'll be, talking about like last minute ideas. They start to form relationships there. It's kind of like success partners without telling them that it's a success partner. And I have found that the coaches who I put in these chats, they start to get this community feel from the team because they're connected to everyone who signed up at the same time as them, even if it's one other person, even if it's, not in the same month. And that's where they really start to form the relationships that are so key to get them tied in to keep going in the business. From there, we have a new leader page in the Shine Dynasty. So after you have achieved Emerald, you get into the new leader page. So in that page, we talk about, not higher level stuff, but I kind of advertise it like that. Like, oh, once you get into this page, you can kind of advance to hearing about how to get to Ruby and what Diamond is. And then after that, we have a team-wide Diamond page. And then after that, we have a team-wide Star Diamond and Team Leader page.
No, I like that it's almost like there's this continuous, opportunity to move to the next level within the team, which I think is great. So you said a couple of things. Well, you've got a couple of questions that have popped up that let's cover really quick. How do you keep them hitting Success Club even after they've hit Success Starter? Like, how do you continue to teach that Success Club's a habit and that you have to do it every month?
Yeah, that's a good question. So my entire team page is all about Success Club. There was a while in this business where people were like, oh, Success Club doesn't matter. And I'm like, y'all, the company has spent millions of dollars on this program that teaches us this is what equals success. There has to be a clue there, right? So every single week I do a leaderboard. Every single week I tag every single person on the leaderboard. The banner of my page is all about top Success Club earners. They get graphics of their faces. We have team prizes. Basically, like, if you think about it as from a business mindset, instead of, okay, I'm a team Beachbody coach, I signed up for my business for $40. If you take the Beachbody model that corporate has put out for us, by things like Team Cup, Success Club prizes like the backpack, or books that they'll send, or calls that you get to get on. Basically, those prizes and those competitions are teaching us the things that we need to do, right? To get a prize, you have to do these activities. So corporate is trying to teach us mentally that that's where we focus, right? They're trying to trick us without telling us you have to hit Success Club, right? This is what you need to do with your team. Not trick them, obviously. Trick them in a nice way. You know, this is where you should be focusing. It's kind of like a reward system. If you do this, you get rewarded. Then, to answer your question, I think Jessica asked that question, to continually, motivate people after Success Starters. I personally don't think after a certain amount of months someone should need, to be sat on and rewarded and constantly given carrots dangled. I totally believe it carries more weight for after those, I'd say 3 to 6 months, that they are seeing the importance of Success Club, that they are continually doing it, and then you go back to concentrating on the new crop of people and recreating the same cycle. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. So let's jump to this one. Do you run a new coach training in addition to the chat thread, or is it do you do coach basics, first 30, all that stuff, or how do you use that?
Yeah, so I create a new coach training. I run 2 new coach trainings a month. So one at the beginning of the month and one at the middle of the month. So I always have some place to be putting people, and I run them for my whole team. So, if there's new coaches who recruit a coach and they're feeling awkward, the question I always get is how do you always have people to go into the new coach training? What if you only signed 1 or 2 new coaches in the past week? And I open it up to everyone. That's how they're so full all the time. And when I put, what was the question?
New coach training. Do you do it? Or
yeah. So I run a new coach training, and then actually there's a feature in the new coach trainings. There's a little button where you can create a chat from that new coach training. And I'll name the chat with the date of the new coach training. And I start a new chat every single time I do a new coach training. So it's just with the people inside the group. And all my coaches know, if you're going to request in the new coach training, you're going to be put in the new chat thread.
Okay, cool. So let's you've got another question about Craigslist, and it's not allowed. And I don't know how to, I don't even know what the rule is on advertising on Craigslist.
You can't do it. It's against the PMP. That was like literally 4 years ago when I saw that.
Okay. All right, let's stay on this leadership development thing. Okay, so how do you then take this exact process you've described of teaching me to hit Success Club, focusing me on Success Club, working the way to get me to Emerald. Now, how do you get me to duplicate that to now that I'm, how do you get me to Diamond, but also teach the duplication of me getting my personally sponsored coaches to do the same thing?
Yeah, I think, the natural evolution of a coach signing up is you get comfortable talking to customers, comfortable running a challenge group, comfortable getting people those fitness results. And then once I kind of identified that someone's at that point, I'd say after 2 or 3 months, and this is different for everyone, right? Because every coach runs differently. Some coaches all of a sudden just get it, and some coaches need a little bit of coddling and a little bit more training and a little bit more direction. So it's a case-by-case basis, really. But what I do is every other month, I have a call for anyone who's interested in what Diamond means. And this is just for newer coaches and their coaches. So it's not like a push to Diamond. It's just, hey, do you want to find out like what Diamond is? And I start pointing their focus kind of in that direction of recruiting coaches and starting to build their team. And then we on our team, I mean, this is something that's recent. I don't think the Diamond push groups really do that much. I think, I've had so many coaches that have been in so many Diamond push groups and have never actually advanced. So we started doing something different. I actually run for my team We're calling them diamond surges. So I still put everyone in a group and there's no assignments. However, I will run for them recruiting tactics. So I'll run a sneak peek into challenge groups at the beginning of the surge. So this is just me doing a live video in an event for all of the people that they have who are interested in challenge groups. This does a couple things. This gives them the confidence to answer questions because they hear me answering the questions. You know, they start writing the answers down and then they start duplicating that, right, in their own conversation. So it gives them confidence. It also sometimes gets them into Success Club because I'm virtually answering their prospects questions for them. And then after this, the next week, we run a team-wide sneak peek. So basically, I'm running a sneak peek for my entire team. And I teach them, you know, this is how you begin the process of getting to diamond. This is how you begin the process of talking to people and combating their objections. And this process has been working really, really awesome the past month. We've had a lot of downline duplication. So not necessarily PS for me, but because of the leadership development points now, I mean, I think I have like the second highest leadership development points in the network at this point. I've had like a ton of advancements to 1-stars and team leaders, and I think that's because of this new program that we've been doing.
Okay, so let me kind of clarify that. So you go live, or you do a live group teaching them about challenge groups, and then you do this sneak peek that teaches them about getting to diamond. Like is there
No. So I do this for their prospects.
Okay, so this is an opportunity presentation for their prospects.
Yeah. So what I'll do is I'll start a group for my team, and it's called Shine Dynasty Diamond Surge. And I put everyone who's interested, you have to be an Emerald or above to be in it, everyone who's interested in advancing their business. And then I create a schedule that's, you know, this week we're concentrated on finding challengers. So your job is to find 3 to 5 people to invite to this sneak peek into challenge groups, right? Okay. And then in the time between, I do the sneak peek for them, and then the sneak peek into the business, I talk to them about, you know, speaking to their people about the transition from a challenger to a coach, inviting all of their past challengers, all of the people who might be interested from their social media to the sneak peek into coaching that I do the next week for them. Does that make sense?
Yeah, for sure. So I just want to be clear that it's like you present what it is to be in a challenge group, and then you present the opportunity to be a coach.
Yes.
And I think I think that we got kind of hung up in this vital process as a company. And so we were all about the challenge group, and people kind of dropped presenting the opportunity. And I think one of your key elements is you've never dropped the opportunity. The opportunity of coaching is still part of the program that you're presenting to your coaches.
Exactly.
Okay. There's a couple of questions that have come up. Shannon Leach wrote a great big long run-on question, so we'll jump into this. What would welcome email? She says she worries her welcome email is too long, too complicated. I agree with you that I think simple is best and not overwhelm the coaches in the beginning. Second, you said that you tell your new coaches all about Success Club and how to hit it. You said you give them the message to explain what is a challenge group is, how to post, fears, etc. How do you share this with them? Is it via email, documents on your team page, or what? Your welcome email? So I guess the question there is, how do you share the information with your new coaches? Like, how are you communicating? And then the other question is, how simple is your welcome email?
Okay, so confession. My welcome email is the same welcome email I had like the first week I was a coach. I've never changed it in 3 years. Oh my gosh, guys, if I can be successful with this, anyone can. But the main bulk, the welcome email is basically just to make contact with them and say, I'm your coach, I'm your, Star Diamond upline. Here's a link to schedule a call with me. This is what a coach is. And there's a few documents actually from First 30 in there, like attachments that I just added to it. Just explaining some coaching things really, and how to navigate the back office and how to set up direct deposit, like very surface level things. That the other information I release in the new coach training group. So from day 1 to 7, I have an assignment. So I do a post every single day, one a day. And that's where I give them the information on examples of posting, examples of talking to people, you know, what their first goal is and that kind of stuff. And then on day 7, I start that chat thread that I was talking about.
Okay, I love this question coming from Deanna that says, you know, how do you offer or invite to the opportunity to someone who hasn't been in a challenge group, or do you only invite challengers?
Girl, I offer it to everyone. Honestly, the opportunity is what changed my life. I was, you know, obviously the fitness programs have changed my life as well. I don't think you can be so successful if you don't believe that, which is why I said kind of in the beginning of the call, everyone who joins my team has to join one of my challenge groups. And I say that because I am not a coach who only talks to challengers about coaching. I personally did not get into the business that way. I was interested primarily in a emotional and financial and physical as kind of the third kind of transformation that I was interested in. But when I came to my coach, I was primarily interested in the business. So I recreate that with my people. I talk about the business the most on my social media. Of course I talk about health and fitness because it's the heart and soul of what we do. But my main focus when I'm speaking to people is speaking about the opportunity. And because I speak so much about the opportunity on my social media and what it's given me and recreating the lifestyle, I attract people who are primarily interested in starting a business.
Dude, I love that because I think that's part of the the real focus on the vital process that we've skipped over is this idea of the opportunity. And that, you know, so tell me this, Bonnie, of your builders, how many of them came for the business versus came for a challenge group?
I'd say all but 2.
Came for the business, came because of the opportunity. Okay, I think that's powerful. So okay, so then that brings us back to so talk about how you post on social media to attract to the opportunity. What does that look like? Like,
I would. What'd you say?
I said, is this like the lifestyle posts? Is that how you're leading into the opportunity? How do you lead to the opportunity?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you guys went to my social media right now and did like one scroll on my page, I mean, every single post I do is about what Beachbody has given me in terms of my life, in terms of, you know, my husband and I, in terms of my confidence, and not just financial. I mean, it's kind of hard to talk about the financial gain at this point because it's unrelatable. So I try to focus on, you know, what has it given me emotionally? What has changed? You know, who was I before? Who am I now? Because if I think about, you know, my evolution in the business and why I was attracted and ultimately why I signed up, I want to attract me's. I want to attract me's and Lindsay Matways, right, into my business. I don't think anyone would not want to attract that. So I try to recreate what attracted me. And I was attracted to this idea that she used this company that was so focused on health and fitness and really good morals and believed in the mission, but she used it as a platform because there was no ceiling of success. So that's what I try to communicate every day. You know, we're also obsessed with, I don't want this to come out. I don't want this to come out wrong. This idea of, you know, we don't talk about income and we don't talk about, you know, all the things that the business gives us because we're health and fitness. Yeah, we're health and fitness, but the business changed my whole freaking life and my future family's life. I would feel bad not offering that to people. And if I don't talk about it, then no one will ever know.
Okay. So, and I think that Susanna brings up a good point. Like she says, do you think that's because that's the way you came in? So you came in looking for an opportunity, a business opportunity. You found it. If somebody else came in looking for a challenge group or a get fit, you know, opportunity, and then they found it, how do they then convert from only bringing people through challenge groups as opposed to presenting the opportunity? Does that make sense?
I have a really successful coach on my team who she came into the business for health and fitness, and she's lost 120 pounds so far the whole time she's been a coach, which is just absolutely amazing. She's a 2-star diamond. and all of her coaches come from her challenge groups. So I think you have to lead with whatever your strength is. Yes, you have to talk about both. Yes, you have to do it both ways. Of course, I have people who still come through my challenge groups and have a good experience and want to do the business. I just think it's a different evolution based person to person, right? Mm-hmm. So if you came into the business looking for an opportunity, then you speak to that person. If you came into the business looking for health and fitness and now you're doing the business, I mean, the evolution happened for you. So the answer is in where was the mental switch for you?
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. I guess where I'm coming at this is, I think one of the things is that you've got to make sure people understand that when they become a coach, that there's both. And I think sometimes we get so one-sided, both directions, that it's not a balanced, business. The reason you're successful is, you're right, you do both. You may have a little more flair towards the opportunity, but you also are big into fitness and big into your challenge groups and helping this lady lose 120 pounds. And I mean, that's all part of it. But it's like, Jeff Hill says, you meet people where they are, meaning, if they can't make a car payment and you can show them, hey, this is an opportunity where you could earn some extra income while you're building this business. Anyway, I just think that I think sometimes we get out of balance and we only do one or the other. And I think that we've always got to remember that as a coach, you should do both.
Yeah, for sure. And that's the number one reason why I will never let anyone just come in and pay the $40 and say, I don't want to go through the challenge group, or I don't want to drink Shakeology, or I don't want to do a program. To me, I personally don't believe you can be successful in this business if you just want money, if you just want to come in and sell stuff. I don't think that it works. And I think that's the balance that you have to have. Like, you have to have both sides, or else your business won't work.
Yeah, I agree. Okay. So now let's go back to this. How do you teach? So you talked about how you teach Diamond. Where does the duplication kick in as far as, actually going for 2-star? Well, no, before we go there, new Diamond bonus. The new Diamond bonus pool promotion that we just announced. What does that do, and how have you changed your game around having this bonus available for Diamonds?
Well, I mean, I think that someone pushing for Diamond in the business means that they want to make it a business, right? They want income. They want to be full-time, or they want it to be a substantial enough income that it actually means something, right? And I think that there's this really common misconception that when you get to Diamond, you're making like millions of dollars. I've had so many coaches who they get to Diamond and they're like, where's my paycheck? And I'm like, well, it's just the first little step. So I think we've made a mistake as a company as a whole, really putting so much emphasis on Diamond, because it gives the misconception that Diamond is where it's at, right? It's like the end all and be all. So I have started focusing more on talking about the fact that Diamond's the first step to being an actual leader. Emerald, yeah, sure. You have 2 friends that are awesome. You can be Emerald in probably an hour, right? Diamond is the first leadership step. And that's how I talk about it now, instead of get to Diamond and the world will be yours. So what I think the bonus has done, at least for my team, is shown them, because what I did was I made a graphic of the bonus with the other Star Diamond bonuses, which I don't think that they were aware of. And I think that it showed them, here's the first little sliver of possibility of all this other stuff. So that's where I think the bonus is the most beneficial. And additionally, making 500 extra bucks for the rest of the year is a really big carrot to dangle, that takes the pressure off of us as coaches. We don't have to offer anything for getting to Diamond. So I think it kind of teaches people this is where you should be focusing next.
Yeah, no, I really do appreciate that. And I love that, the way that we've structured it with requiring Success Club, because it's like, hey, you know what? I think it also takes pressure off the leader to say, especially coaches going for elite, it's like, I need you to hit Success Club so I get elite points. Well, you don't have to say that anymore. Now it's, you need to hit Success Club so that you can get this bonus, if and when you go Diamond. It now puts that back on the individual to, if you want this bonus opportunity, Success Club and getting to Diamond and holding it 6 weeks, kind of comes into play.
Yeah, and I would oh my gosh, I wish that this was in play when I was first trying to get to Elite my first year. Because I don't know if you guys know about this, but I missed Elite my first year. I was going for it. I was Premier. And then the next year I was Elite 10, number 5, which is just insane. But if I was in your position and I was going for Elite right now, what I would do is possibly make up like a graphic or a post or a live video in your team page about what you did with your first bonus, or what you would do, what's possible with $500 extra, and make it emotional and relatable to your coaches. So maybe you have a team of moms who are trying to get to Diamond. What would $500 extra mean to those moms in terms of Christmas, in terms of Thanksgiving? You really want to make the ranks and the money emotional and show them that it's not just numbers on a paper. It's not just a rank next to your name. It actually means something to your life, and really start to talk about it like that. And then you have the power to say, just like Doug was saying, hey, this is on you. You got to hold this for 6 weeks, or else you won't have, the gift on Christmas with that $500 extra or that medical bill paid or whatever it is.
Yeah, no, and I appreciate that. I mean, I think, and I think coaches need to understand, we've never had this before. We've never had a diamond bonus. And so to have this in play right now is awesome. And so people need to really understand what it means and how it can really benefit, everybody. And yes, I do think it's about you, but it's also about you using it with your PS coaches to help them embrace this concept for them. Because I think, we get so hung up on ourselves that, yeah, I got to get there. But, man, don't forget to present it to your personally sponsored coaches who do see this as an opportunity. Bonnie, you've been incredible. Let's close this with, what is the best advice? Like what, if you were starting new today, what is, the things you would focus on out of the gate to build this business, to be successful even faster? Like what are the activities that coaches need to be doing?
Yeah, I know this call is about leadership development, but I still feel like the strongest leadership development thing that you can do in your business is just keep recruiting, keep adding people. The only thing you cannot control is what other people do. You can't control if someone's going to quit. You can't control what happens in their life. You might have someone right now and you might not want to hear this, who's pushing for Diamond and you're rock star on your team, and then something happens in their life and they quit. It's just like if you were to own a brick and mortar business and you had a team of 10 people, you can't control who's going to stay employed with you, right? So the most valuable thing that you guys can do is keep adding to your team, keep adding to your pipeline. Your first goal every single month should be, I need to hit the highest Success Club numbers that I've ever hit. Once I started focusing on what I could control, instead of trying to pull all these people to ranks and, what do I have to do for them? When I mentioned that I run a sneak peek into challenge groups and sneak peek into the business, I do it for me and just let everybody else tag along. Like, you have to remember that your business comes first, and if you don't take care of your business, no one in your downline will take care of theirs because they're following your example.
Awesome. Bonnie, you're incredible every time. I tell you what, you bring such a unique perspective to this, and I love that you're just no holds barred. You just do it. And I think that that's powerful. And I really do appreciate you taking the time today. Guys, we will get this recording posted. Shannon, we accept your apology. I was totally teasing about the long question. You're fine. But hey, guys, this is awesome. And hey, Bonnie, thank you so much for being here. And we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye, guys.
All right. We'll see you guys.